The Role of the Beyond Academic Careers Advisory Committee, presented by Jeffrey Silverman.
This is an intro to BACAC. It's a bit of a long acronym, but yeah, Beyond Academic Careers Advisory Committee. So where did BACAC come from and what is it? Also from the 2020 AAS Beyond Academy Task Force Final Report and Recommendations. The specific bit was we proposed that a Corporate Engagement Advisory Committee, which is now called BACAC, be chartered and the AAS board by the AAS board with a focus on enhancing interactions between AAS and astronomers working in the private sector. Private sector we thought was a little bit narrow. Corporate engagement we thought was a little bit narrow, so we tried to be more inclusive by changing it to beyond academic careers and sort of tweak some of the language there. Our first meeting was in April 2023, so it also took us a few years to get going, but I guess we are more seasoned than Subcommittee 4, which I learned earlier today, so that's interesting. And we are now pretty consistently having monthly meetings. It took us a while to get going, but we're sort of on that monthly cadence now. I believe we are the only AAS committee with a singular focus on career paths for astronomers beyond academia. And as I said, we try to be quite inclusive. This term beyond academia, we're including aerospace, we're including EPO, SciComm type stuff, of course, data science, software, tech, engineering, and government policy type stuff as well. And so we, according to our charter, and you can check out our website on the AAS web pages, BACAC will enhance interactions between the AAS and all astronomers, identify ways for the AAS to engage more closely with all astronomers, promote a diversity of career options for all astronomers, and enhance connections between the AAS and industry, government, and other organizations. And it's really those last two, I think, that make us more unique, I would say, than some of the other groups. Currently, we're composed of 14 current and former astronomers. A chunk of us work in tech, roughly speaking, data science-y stuff, software engineering. We've got a few folks from the aerospace, space awareness type side of things. We've got a few folks from government policy stuff, also working for the government in tech, so sort of an overlap, and SciComm, science communication, outreach, education type stuff, and two that are in academia. And that was sort of purposeful to have, a more closely formal tie to folks in academia. We decided we wanted to kind of present some of the projects that we've sort of ramped up and are thinking about, and then we'll have lots of time for questions because this is a relatively short presentation. First one that we thought about was this National Academies report from a number of years ago that talked about graduate STEM education for the 21st century. So basically it called for a systemic shift in grad education to become more student-centric, and it emphasizes tailoring grad education to enable a broad range of career outcomes. So very similar to what we've been talking about here already. We believe AAS endorsement of this report will just sort of help give astronomy educators, one more reason to, one more good argument to reform astro education, focus more on students and careers beyond academia. So that was one thing that part of the BACAC committee was pushing for. One thing near and dear to my heart is Astronomers Turned Data Scientists, ATDS. It's a loose-knit informal community founded in 2019. I'm one of the co-founders and one of the current organizers. So from my charter that I wrote for this thing, we want to create a more cohesive community among former astronomers who are currently working with big data in industry, and between those former astronomers and current astronomers. So again, very consistent with a lot of what we're talking about here, a little bit more niche or specifically talking about data science is in the name. It makes a nice acronym, and I'm kind of stuck with it. But very broadly speaking, we have a very broad definition of data science. So I talk about big data or tech industry, pretty much anyone working with data beyond academia. If you're working for an aerospace company doing more engineering, if you're working for a federal government agency working with big data, that kind of all falls under the bucket in my mental model, at least. The big thing that we do every year since 2019, since Jan 2019, is we run a day-long splinter session during the winter AAS meetings. We have a day full of speakers, mostly former astronomers who are working with data beyond academia. We usually have one or two speakers that are current data or astronomy researchers that are using big data, machine learning techniques in their research, which is awesome. And there's lots of networking that goes on. We send people from our group to the Beyond Academy panel and roundtable discussion. The picture we saw earlier of the roundtable, I'm actually in it on the left side. I almost drew a little circle around me, as well as another ATDS person, Josh Miller, was on that picture as well. Those splinters, I will give a shout out, have been sponsored by the AAS Committee on Employment, so we've worked closely with them since 2019. The American Institute of Physics has also supported us financially. Occasionally, we do get some corporate sponsors for that, so that is sort of where the bulk of our money comes from. for ATDS specifically. And then also just a quick rundown of what ATDS has. We have an email list, a podcast, a YouTube channel, a Slack workspace, a Blue Sky account, and a website, atds.space, that has links to all of that and our past Splinter sessions as well. Another thing that BCAC is interested in and has been thinking a lot about is mentoring. We're sort of discussing, and a few of the folks on the committee are digging into some recommendations for how AAS members can seek out mentors from beyond academia. So ideas ranging from, a formal AAS linked database, maybe something a little bit more simple, just a AAS hosted web page, or something really grassroots, sort of an informal web-based list, a Google Sheet or something, with people that are interested in mentoring or interested in getting mentored. The APS, the American Physical Society, has a long-standing and highly utilized program called Industry Mentoring for Physicists, called also known as IMPACT. And we think AAS participation in that could give a clear and effective pathway for astronomers working beyond academia to connect with AAS members to provide direct mentoring experiences. So a couple of folks on our committee are investigating how that could work. Can we just sort of mooch off of what exists there? Can we clone it? Can we just use some good ideas from there? Things like that. We also sort of officially recommend that AAS members should continue to, with active support from the AAS, self-organize into communities where mentoring relationships can grow organically. An explicit recommendation we're considering is formally promoting the ATDS community. Definitely BCAC has been very good about informally promoting it, and ATDS is one of these sort of self-started, self-organized, and mentoring relationships do grow sort of organically among current and former AAS members. And the last bit here, just some future directions for the advisory committee. We're looking to undertake new projects, right? We've sort of gotten ramped up. We've got our feet under us. We've got a good group of folks. We've got some ideas of what to work on, some potential examples, creating a repository of skills that astronomers should acquire that are applicable to careers beyond academia. This could certainly involve resume writing, as we were just discussing, as well as other skills that we could discuss with educators, et cetera. Something that I personally really like and have suggested is maintaining a list of astronomers with careers beyond academia that departments can ask to give colloquia about their careers and career paths. The AAS has a longstanding public policy talks program where they will send a public policy AAS person to give a colloquium. I would love to see something for that for careers beyond academia. Maybe it's not quite as formal or funded, but something in that vein I think could be really useful for universities and institutions around the country. And another thing that we've talked about, and we've chatted with some folks from these committees, but I'd love to see some collaborations. I think that the advisory committee overall would love to see some direct collaboration with AAS committees that are representing underrepresented groups. So, it's sort of talking about multi-axis and multi-dimensional representation and how those folks can get, prepared and best prepared for careers beyond academia. Of course, the AAS has multiple committees that fall under this, and I think it would be great to have some direct collaboration. I've personally chatted with a couple of folks from these committees, and we've all said it sounds awesome and we should do something, but we haven't really, formalized anything or gotten any beyond a hey, that'd be a great idea kind of stage. And so, yeah, we're open from ideas from y'all, from other AAS committees, from AAS members, people interested in suggesting things that we could take a look at, advise on, make a statement on, et cetera. I'll point out that the BCAC does have a Slack workspace. It's not super active, but it does exist. And if you really want to get more involved or reach out directly, reach out to me if you really want, especially if you're interested in ATDS specifically. But I will recommend reaching out to the committee co-chairs. Shaul and Eric are current co-chairs, and I believe they nominally are co-chairs for at least a couple more years. And their information is here and also on the BCAC webpage on the AAS website. And with that, I'll say thank you. I'll stop sharing and go ahead and take questions, or we can keep chatting.